Can everyone see the screen now? My apologies. I think I had a bit of a technical difficulty.
There we go.
Perfect. All right, Chairman, I'll hand it to you for.
All right, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, Chairman, if Savannah could we talked about a different method for the Pledge of Allegiance.
That's fine.
Savannah, you want to share our new method?
Thank you, Savannah. That's a great flag.
Can everyone see the flag? So per Commissioner White's request, Chairman Baldwin, we're going to put this flag on the screen as we say the Pledge of Allegiance. And as a prior or current history teacher, Chairman White said that it would be okay for us to sit and we say, we pledge allegiance, correct?
Yep, that's fine.
All right.
Very nice. Pledge
Awesome.
allegiance.
We pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
which
which
stands
stands
one
one
nation,
nation under God,
indivisible,
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
What a good way of doing that. All right. So we're going to a roll call. So we have, let's see, we have, who do we have here, Joanne? I'm sorry, my screen's not fully loaded here.
I'm going to hand it over to Savannah Nicole.
All right.
So we have Commissioner DeVito.
Here.
We have Commissioner White,
Here I am.
Chairman Baldwin,
Yes, present.
Commissioner Bob, I'm sorry, I'm not sure of your last name.
Clark.
Commissioner Clark? Commissioner Nearney?
Yes, present.
That is who we have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We do not currently have a quorum.
Okay. Okay, so having said that and done roll call, do we have any members or any correspondence from the public for comment? No public comment, no one on the Zoom meeting, or Savannah Nicole, we don't have any written comment, public comment?
No, we do not, Chairman.
All right, we'll go to item 2, the administrative items. And looks like we have the adoption of the June 1, 2021 meetings. And
Can't do that.
I'm sorry?
We can't do that.
We
We
can't
don't
do
have
it.
a quorum.
We don't have a quorum, so we're gonna have to table it. I'm gonna table A of the adoption of our June 1 minutes. Do I have a motion to table?
We can't even do that, can we?
Yeah, we can still do that. We could do that as a meeting.
I move it. I table.
Yep,
Move to
we table. Yeah, we're tabling it. Second. We got a second to table it.
I wasn't there, so I can't participate.
Okay,
And
is
that's-
anybody, was
That's
anybody
not
there?
so. That's not so. If you're
No.
Yeah, I
not
think-
there,
I think we're just tabling it, so I'd say we need a second. We just,
I
believe,
second it.
okay, we've
I
got a
second
second. Thanks by Dave White. Okay,
Yep.
all in favor for the table?
aye.
Aye. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Savannah, Nicole, or Joanna, we can't do we don't have a quorum, so we can't act on anything that's actually would require any type of item other than we can still act on procedural items, just as like tabling or something like that. That's the way I understand it. So if nobody has any objections, that's why I'd like to keep moving on. All right, Keith, we have referrals, and I see Keith has some for us.
Yes, I do. I want to say hi to everyone, and although we don't have a quorum, we can go over the referrals. There are quite a number of those because we have them from June now. So I'm going to go over, I'm just going to briefly identify about 25 of these referrals, and if any member community wants to, any member wants to comment on those or add to our discussion, that'll be fine as well. I'm just going to do it kind of in a quick manner. So if something catches your ear, please speak up. And this is from June 23rd to present time. So I'm just going to go down the list. We're going to start with Newtown on June 23rd. We had a text amendment, and they have now prohibited all forms of cannabis establishments in the town of Newtown. On 6/24, Waterbury passed a moratorium for cannabis establishments to discuss those for a 12-month period. In the 8th of July, Ansonia passed a couple text amendments. One for fences and walls, new language being used, as well as a text amendment on.
Excuse me, Keith.
Yes.
I think you gotta face more towards the microphone. I'm not picking you
Okay.
up.
Okay. Do you hear me now?
Yeah, very well. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, I will do that. I just have to move my screen around, so that's fine. On July 8th from Watertown, 2-lot subdivision. And then on July 8th from Watertown, a site plan for a convenience store at the corner of Echo Lake and Buckingham. On July 8th as well from Watertown, we did have a text amendment also clarifying daycare, group daycare, and senior housing. Then we have Thomaston had performed some comprehensive regulation changes, and that was for June 21st. June 23rd, we had a Prospect added some transportation as prohibited cannabis establishment. They had already done that. On July 20th, Wallingford passed a text amendment to prohibit all cannabis establishments in their town, as well as Trumbull on the 29th. On August 2nd, Beacon Falls had a text amendment for the Hopbrook Village District, which is a 830G housing development, which Savannah, Nicole, and I are currently working on. August 2nd, Beacon Falls also passed a 6-month cannabis establishment moratorium. On August 3rd, Southington passed an amendment to prohibit all cannabis establishments in town. On August 12th, Washington, Connecticut also passed some comprehensive amendments to address some inconsistencies in their business district. August 12th, Newtown, interesting enough, passed some text amendments to allow for additional apartments per horse stall. And Savannah, Nicole, and I thought that was very interesting, but they actually have in Newtown quite an abundance of show horses and equestrian style horses that actually need 24-hour attention. So they actually combine horse uses with apartment uses. We also received on August 16th an amendment from Southbury for a moratorium on cannabis establishments. Derby on August 18th, amendments to their special services district. I was hoping Gil would be here to explain the text amendment concerning pools in residential areas. I guess they're having a situation where people are renting out private pools for commercial purposes, and he wanted to get his hands on that, as well as they did eliminate a 30-day sign permit that allowed a sign to be in place if no signature was going to be signed in 30 days. Oxford recently, on August 24th, passed a text amendment for a cannabis establishment moratorium. Naugatuck has passed a couple text amendments concerning accessory uses for bees and poultry. Mary didn't just recently lessen the parking requirements for multifamily housing in a text amendment. September 9th, Orange passed some text amendments for off-street parking of commercial vehicles in residential zones. I guess they were having some problems there. September 10th, Washington, Connecticut, passed some text amendments, interesting enough, for heliports for both private and commercial uses in residential zones. So I guess they're having quite a number of people are skipping up to Washington on their private and public helicopter, that they need a text amendment for that. September 14th, Cheshire passed some amendments for their special services district. September 15th, Orange passed a one-year moratorium for cannabis, and at the same time passed a prohibition for cannabis and an allowance for cannabis. So they decided they're going to see how each of them get played out in public hearings, and then during the moratorium process, and then either lift the moratorium when the year is over, and or allow for for either a prohibition or an allowance to occur. September 16th, Cheshire had another text amendment. This one was for poultry as well. September 26th, Southington has now opted out of the accessory dwelling unit regulations, or excuse me, the statutes, and that is something that each of our communities are going to be wanting to look at as well. And that's with the new legislation for accessory dwelling units. September 30th, Ansonia did pass a cannabis moratorium, as well as they passed some new regulations for their hotel and motels. I guess they had some trouble with what was the expectancy of the Big Apple Hotel down in Ansonia. Those are our referrals. If anyone has any questions or comments, or would like to speak out on some of the issues that affect their communities specifically, we can talk about that as well. Other than that, I have no other comments.
Keith, did all of those go out to us?
Yes, yes, they did.
Okay,
All going out to you. And I must, at the insistence of our representatives from Shelton, we are now attaching to our referrals all of the background material too, as a CC too. So you can dive as deep as you want into these issues. Bob,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, anybody have any questions on any of the referrals for Keith? Savannah, Nicole, what's the terminology for when someone rents out their swimming pool for private use?
Swimply. It's a funky app. We recommend you.
How do you
take a
say
look
that?
at it.
Say
How do you
that
say-
again.
Swimply.
Would you spell it?
Yeah, it's SWIMPLY. That's correct, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you could look that up, swimply.com. There's a number of pools all around the state that people are looking to create income.
All right,
When
well-
they're not swimming on it, they can invite a few people who would like to rent it out.
I think that's Swimply a great idea.
I think that's looking for trouble. If somebody gets,
Seriously, in
Somebody
public,
drowns
there's
or
a lot
gets-
of public health issues involved with that.
I'll bet.
Correct. Yeah, we had one such issue in Waterbury, and it was not a good situation. We received neighborhood complaints of loud parties and those kind of issues. We actually did make contact with Swimply and explained our position that it is not allowed through our zoning, and it also constitutes a violation of the public health code. The public health code is very strict in regulating the usage of pools when they become public. And Keith is right. There are other locations throughout Connecticut. I believe Canton had made an inquiry through the planners listserv a while back. So yeah, stay tuned. You may see one popping up in your town
Yeah.
before you know it.
All right, so let's see, any other questions on referrals? If not, we're gonna go to correspondence, where we have Savannah Nicole for correspondence.
Thank you, Chairman. So we only have one thing under correspondence, and so it's related to you and your land use staff should have received an email from Christine O'Neill, who is our environmental planner, regarding our request for sustainability project examples for the regional sustainability plan. And so if you have any questions or you have any projects that you'd like to highlight in this way, please feel free to reach out to Christine via email or phone.
Okay. Did everybody, hopefully everybody received that through their land use division there of your municipality.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, do we want to do, we don't have a full quorum. Does anybody, instead of doing a roundtable, does anybody have anything that they want to share? We can just go through that, we can highlight. Normally the roundtable gets, does anybody have anything going on that they want to share on this
Yeah.
meeting?
Actually, yeah, I do.
All right, very good,
And I
David.
was hoping for a full roundtable so that I could say these things.
Oh, well, we're going to do a full roundtable. So
All right.
having you started off, that's wonderful.
All right. The first thing I wanted to report is that the Bristol Mum Festival went off this year. We were not able to do it last year. It was a huge success. We used downtown, which has really been, I think, a godsend. We had a whole park devoted to kids' activities. We had some 90 vendors in town. It was really very successful.
Fantastic.
Yeah. The only other things I have to report is that next March, we are prepared to evacuate our city hall. And we're going to be doing renovation and redesign of City Hall, which this is a personal note. I think it's one of the ugliest city halls available. And we hope to improve that quite a bit. Offices are going to be located into a vacant Webster Bank. And we have a vacant municipal building at 10 Main Street, and the rest of the offices will be there. And that's it.
All right, thank you, sir. On my screen, as I look at it, Bob Clark, do we have anything going on there? Up there?
Yeah, a couple of things. The town of Woodbury has a new town planner. Mary Ellen Edwards decided that the commute from Southington was too far, so she accepted a position over there. And we found a town planner growing in Woodbury that we didn't know we had. So the new town planner is Will Agresta. So we're happy with that. We're unhappy that we don't have a ZEO yet, but in Woodbury, that's not unusual. We seem to fly between having one and not having one. The only other matter is that the zoning commission is still muddling through its regulations, trying to find its way out of the old into the new. And right now we are still muddling with signs, which is, I guess, typical of Woodbury, or has been for the past few years, as one will know. I guess that's all.
All right, thanks, Bob. I'm sorry, on my screen, I don't have the list all the way. Savannah Nicole, can you help me out here? Because I don't have a populated list. I'm on a very old computer.
Sure. So we have Commissioner Daniel DeVito from Watertown and then Commissioner Bob Nearney from Waterbury.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Daniel, you want to go ahead?
Sure. I don't think there's much new in town. We have our meeting tomorrow, our monthly meeting. We had a town fall festival 2 weeks ago, which was great because we didn't get to have it last year. It was a good turnout for our town, not nearly what Bristol had. We didn't have 90 vendors, but we had a good turnout. But that's about it for right now.
All right, great, thanks. Bob?
Well, in Waterbury, development activity certainly remains strong. A lot of residential and commercial development interest in the city, particularly subdivisions from the past that are either near or close to lapsing. A lot of developers are availing themselves of the statutory extension that was approved in July. And the other big issue is we're getting our affordable housing study underway, as even though we're not bound to Section 830G, we still feel an obligation, or, well, in fact, we are obligated to produce such a study in accordance with Section 830J. So we certainly will be calling on the COG for statistical information as we get deep into it. That's it.
All right, thanks, Bob. I guess am I the last one here, Savannah Nicole?
Yes, you are, Chairman.
For Seymour, again, we're in the process of our full zoning regulations. A little bit of a rewrite that the COG was instrumental in helping us do. Planning and zoning been taking that up. We hope to go through it fairly quickly, but have something ready for early 2022. We've had the Pumpkin Festival return, which was always a pretty big activity for Seymour. So that went off. Had a beautiful day for that. And yeah, the real estate market stays pretty active. So we do see a lot of real estate closings and things like that. So other than that, and then we're just getting started on an affordable housing, 90 unit affordable housing project that looks like it's kicking off, probably be underway in about a month or so. And that's 90 units. So that was a pretty controversial project, but all's on track. So that's about it for down in Seymour. And I guess we've covered everybody. So we're going to move to item 4. I don't think we can take an action on this, on the solar statement.
Yes, Chairman.
Yeah, go ahead, Savannah Nicole.
You are correct. However, the environmental planners involved with this project would still like to present because it is going before the board on next Friday. And so even if we can't motion, I think it would still be appreciated just to hear everyone's thoughts. It is a very quick presentation, and Christine,
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know we had that. I didn't say we had the presentation. Okay. Okay.
Just so you know what you're voting on.
Oh, no, absolutely. I thought this was something, didn't we see that? We saw this as well in an email, right?
Yes, Savannah Nicole did send it to you ahead of time, the statement itself. I just wanted to give a little background on the program if everyone's still agreeable.
There we go. That's better on the screen. Perfect.
All right, so I'm going to attempt to share my screen. And could I get a thumbs up if you can see it? Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so again, my name is Christine. I'm an environmental planner here with the COG, and I would like to talk to you about why you should be as excited as I am about SolSmart. So this is a national certification program. The goal is to make solar energy, solar development easier, faster, and more friendly in our communities. The certification we're going for is on the regional level, but it's going to benefit all of the municipalities. So this program is funded by the Department of Energy, which is super cool because it means it's 100% free. So I imagine most of you have some familiarity with the Sustainable CT program. It's a very, very similar setup. So you basically have a menu of different actions that we as a region can take. Some of those categories include best permitting practices, community or utility engagement, trainings, things like that. So one example of an action we could take would be to create a landing page on our website for solar resources. So if we do enough of the required actions and the optional actions, we hit a point threshold, and that's what gives us our certification. So why is this really awesome? Like we said before, it's free. NVCOG is going to do all the work, so staff members don't need to dedicate their time. However, municipal staff are going to get all the benefits. They'll have trainings they can attend if they'd like. They're going to end up with guides and checklists and best practices, all sorts of resources that they can take advantage of to make solar an easier process in your towns. Also, although of course I come from the tree hugging environmental side and I'm all excited about the renewable energy, there's also this really awesome economic development aspect to it where you're saying, hey, solar developers, we are open for business here in the Valley. And finally, the last quote on the screen about the increased solar capacity, I just thought that was really powerful. A third-party review found that, you know, month to month, there is a real increase in solar capacity for taking these actions. So we're going to go for this silver certification. We're going to probably hit bronze first. And just so you know, our neighbors, South Central Region Regional Council of Governments, SCROG, also has that silver certification. So we need to get at least as good as them. And this is the letter that you all saw before. This is the solar statement. I understand you can't take a formal vote tonight, but we'd love to have your enthusiastic support of this so we can go to our meeting and say, hey, RPC gave it the big old thumbs up. So I know that was a very brief overview of the program, but if you have any questions at all, any thoughts, I'd love to hear them, and I'd be happy to field anything you're thinking right now.
You know, I have a question.
Sure.
This is via a source from the fire department here in Bristol, that when people put solar panels on their roof, it creates a problem in the event of a fire, in that the roof is energized and they can't break through the roofs. And I only mention this because I have no idea about the validity of this source information, but I would hope that we would be able to get some information. Because if we're going to promote,
I can help you out with that, Dave.
Oh, thanks. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's actually not the case at all.
No. Okay.
No. So solar equipment on residential and almost all solar equipment has what's called a rapid shutdown. The system's tested has to shut down itself in 10 seconds or less when loss of original source of power. So in the case of any kind of fire or any kind of activity on a roof by a fire department, the very first thing they do is they kill the power, which that has to be labeled all sorts of different ways. So the first arriving units identify the power source, they cut the power source, and they also have another rapid shutdown switch. So as soon as that's taken off, there is no longer producing power. And that's part of the electrical code and the building code. So that was the case at one time because it was an alternate source of energy, but it's no longer. So they actually kill that source immediately. And it has to, again, shut down in 10 sequends.
Jim,
So,
thank you very much. You know, I
Okay.
said I didn't know about the validity of the statement. I was just questioning whether or not that was true.
Yeah, I believe all the fire departments now probably have trained on that. And, the biggest thing, what would happen is a lot of the solar panels, when they come down through wiring, they bring it into the attic. So if they're going to ventilate with their saws or cut through it, there's a good possibility they may cut through one of the main lines. But again, the source,
But it's
the
off.
power source, but
Yeah.
the power source has been shut down. Yep.
Right. Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a good point there. And I just want to point out that we can pretty much customize any of these actions. So we develop our own best practices. If something like that were to come up, right? Or if somebody wanted to put, 5 acres of impervious surface that would impact water quality with these panels, we don't have to just say like rah rah solar. We can be smart about it. We can make those targeted recommendations. So thank you, Jim, for the sort of background. That was really helpful. But if other concerns like that come up, we're happy to accommodate them in the way we write these guidelines.
Chairman Baldwin,
Yes.
I misspoke. The COG CEO board is voting on this Friday, not next Friday. So we would really appreciate anyone's guidance before it goes before them this week. Thank you, Joanna.
Well, we can't take a formal vote, but we could take an informal straw vote.
Yeah, we could send an endorsement, just basically members, from this committee or this meeting, basically reacted favorably to the overall solar statement.
I have no problem with that.
Okay, so basically, if we're all in consensus without a vote, we can endorse the project as it's presented in its draft form. Hearing no opposition to it. All right, for the record, we're all in agreement for the endorsement?
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye. Okay,
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Very,
I'm
very
fine
much
with it.
appreciated.
all right, very good.
Is it re-showing the presentation to you all? I'm seeing kind of an error on my side.
Oh,
It just
yeah,
says
we're-
has started screen
going.
sharing.
Keep going.
Let me close out and re-enter it, I think. My apologies.
there you go. Oh, now we're back to our video.
And she's gone.
We've all become
You're back.
There we go.
last minute tech superstars throughout COVID. All right.
I love it.
All
Thank
right,
you
we're
all.
going to, okay, great. We're on item 5. We're going to our updates and regional plan of conservation and development. We have Joanna giving us an update for that.
Yeah, thank you. It's always fun to have our little glitches and little ad libs. So I'm still waiting for Christine's cat to come on the screen. So I would
It
love
just
to.
shows
There
you-
we go. Thank you.
It shows that you're human.
Exactly. Okay, so thank you all for this time talking about the Regional Plan of Conservation Development. We have got a public participation plan outlined, and thank you to Keith, Savannah Nicole, and there's another person, Desiree Blanchard, who helped put that together. We've also put together some of what we think is the carryovers from our previous 3 regional plans. That would be for the Central Connecticut RPA, Regional Planning Association, COG C&V, and the Valley Council of Governments. So that's all in place. What I'm asking for tonight is, does anyone from our 5 RPC members today, would you be willing to serve on a working committee, just working on this probably a little bit every month, checking in with NVCOG staff, helping us to put together and vet surveys and public participation and such? Just asking right now, any one of our 5 members right now interested in being on this working committee?
Got
Bob? Okay. Anyone else?
Yep. Go ahead and put Dave White down.
Thank you, Dave. 2 is great. 3 would even be better. Anyone else? Okay, so
Thank
the
you,
people
Nicole. No.
No, I think Lori
Sorry.
Rotella, Margus Lon, yeah, all those people who aren't here. No, right now, Bob and Dave, thank you so much. We'll be contacting you with emails, and I'm going to still reach out to some of the other people. But I
Thank you.
really appreciate that. So the next part of our plan is in November. We are going to be starting to contact the planning and zoning, or the planning / separate zoning commissions regarding having some time at your meetings to talk about the regional plan and where it's going. So just stay tuned, and that's all I have for today. Any questions?
No, it looks like everybody's good on that.
Okay.
All right, we'll go to the regional housing profile. Savannah, Nicole.
Thank you, Chairman. And also thank you, Commissioner Nearney, during the roundtable. I feel like you set me up for a good talk about our updates for our regional housing profile. So as you all may be aware, the requirement for municipalities to create a municipal affordable housing plan was established under 830J in 2017. And so in the most recent legislative session, a deadline of June 2022 was set for the adoption of a municipal affordable housing plan. So to assist municipalities with the creation of their municipal affordable housing plans, NVCOG staff are working on creating a regional housing profile that we hope to publish by the end of this year. And so the regional housing profile will include two main areas. One will be relevant housing data that will help you as you write these plans. And the other part will be visual and technical guidance on different, what is defined as middle housing types that were defined in the last legislative session. So we're hoping that both the data can help serve you all as you work with your communities to consider recommendations to increase the number of affordable housing developments. And I am one of the leads on this project. So if you have any specific questions in regard to municipal affordable housing plans, you're always welcome to send me an email, and myself and the other staff that are working on this project can assist you the best we can.
Chairman, if I could just add.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say Savannah Nicole's been really great. She's actually done a lot of hard work with all the memos that have been sent out to all of the towns regarding the 830J. I want to also mention that the COG, even though we don't have this housing profile completed, we have a lot of the data that you guys would need. So just please reach out to us, reach out to Savannah, I should say. If you need some particular housing, like permits, how much permitting. Actually, right now we're working on creating some multi-family permitting as separate from single family. Please, we also have this regional profile. We've got a lot of that data in there as well, but we're here to help you, and we want to make sure that all of your towns have the best municipal affordable housing plans that you could have, whatever it is that you're comfortable with. So thank you.
All right, thanks, Joanna. We have Aaron who's going to fill us in on the regional hazard mitigation plan.
Thank you, Chairman. Natural hazard mitigation plans are required to be updated for every 5 years to remain eligible for federal natural disaster mitigation funding programs. NVCOG received FEMA funding to develop a regional plan that will also serve to update all 19 municipal plans in our region. So over the last year, NVCOG has worked with a consultant and municipal officials in all of your towns to review past plans and prepare an update that meets FEMA standards. There have been several rounds of public and stakeholder engagement, including meetings and workshops, surveys, and other outreach. Input was incorporated into a regional plan and municipal annexes. You can find those drafts on our website. It's at nvcogct.gov/HMP. The draft report and municipal annexes were finalized and submitted to DEMIS and FEMA in August. So we expect approvals with some revisions this fall. And then after that, we'll be working with each municipality to get those plans endorsed locally over the winter. So I'd encourage all of you to take a look at the drafts that are on the website. It's not too late to offer comments or to make changes. And I'd be happy to answer any questions at all.
All right,
It's
thanks.
it's going to be, yeah, I do. It's going to be that quick a turnaround?
So we were told, so our consultant has actually done 2 other regional plans in the past year, and they've gotten approval back from FEMA within 3 months. So we submitted it in the beginning of August. So we're hoping to have it by November or December at the latest. But we'll see. I guess don't hold your breath, but
That's pretty good turnaround for a federal authority.
and I think what helped us is that our consultant did work on 2 already and had been through that process with FEMA already, so sort of knew what to expect and had already made a lot of the changes in our document before we submitted it. So it should be pretty easy.
Great.
Yeah, sure. Should be.
I'm being an
All right.
optimist.
All right, you want to continue on, Aaron, right into the item D? The water.
Sure. So at the last RPC meeting, I presented on work that was being conducted by the Water Utility Coordinating Committees, or WUCs. And I have an update tonight. Just some background. I know several of you weren't there last month. So WUCs were established by the legislature and convened by the Department of Public Health to maximize the efficient and effective development of the state's water supply systems and to promote public health. WUC membership consists of water suppliers and COG representatives. And there's 3 WUCs. We're entirely in the Western Connecticut WUC. So in 2018, all 3 WUCs completed a several-year planning process that led to coordinated water supply plans for each area. And you can find those online if you Google Connecticut WUCC. The 3 WUCs have formed an implementation working group looking to address issues that were identified in those plans. And one of those issues was a need for guidance and outreach to municipal planners, commissions, and developers. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on right now. So the working group identified a need for guidance in 3 areas. One is for projects being proposed within a drinking water supply watershed or an aquifer protection area, really focusing on source water protection. The second area is really just looking at general best practices for getting water quality and supply included in local plans and regulations. And the third area is for proposed projects that may need a new water system or require service from a public water system, including looking at the certificate of public convenience and necessity and WUC processes, which are pretty complicated. So for the first 2 areas, I've provided draft guidance that we've started developing in your packet. And for the third, looking at those new water systems, that's really still in the works and is not ready for prime time yet. So I'll just talk really briefly about those first 2 areas. Looking at development in drinking water supply watersheds and APAs, we really have been focusing on a concern that was expressed by the Department of Public Health and water companies that there was a general lack of reporting or underreporting of development to DPH and water companies. And those reporting requirements can be found in section 8-3I and 22A-42F of the general statutes. So, that came up continually during the WUC process. So, we actually looked into it, and Christine, who's on the call now, actually did a sort of informal survey of a lot of municipalities and found that, maybe half of the municipalities she talked to were actually properly notifying or even were aware of the notification requirements. So I think it's fair to say that, the concern is justified. So, we've really been focusing on that in our draft guidance. And actually both of those statutes were updated in the last legislative session. So it's sort of good timing to get that guidance out. So in the guidance that I included in your packet, really sort of just points to the DPH map to determine if a project is within a drinking water watershed or an APA, and then outlines those new reporting requirements and confirms that they've been met. So it's pretty straightforward. The second area was, it's really just a list of best practices that can be implemented locally with sort of an eye toward improved water quality. Really just looking at things local officials can do and municipalities can do to protect water resources and plan for water supply. So things like including relevant water issues in POCDs, revising zoning regulations to encourage or require LID practices, especially in those areas where water supply is coming from, and providing or even requiring specific training about drinking water issues to local commissioners. And that list is in your packet. We'd really love some local perspective from all of you. Are they appropriate or relevant? What's listed there, what are we missing? And also if you know of any resources that we can point to, we're trying to put together, instead of, reinventing the wheel, we'd really like to point to resources that are out there that are good and that we can point people to use. So we're still working with DPH to refine these documents, but please take a look. I could send you the Word documents too if you'd like to propose changes or edits. We would certainly welcome that. We've also been discussing the best way to get this information out to towns, and we've been discussing with possibly putting together some training programs or webinars with DPH. And I think COGS can play a big role in that. That's really all I have. Thank you. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Okay, thanks, Aaron. Any questions for Aaron?
Aaron, you would be willing to go on the road, would you?
Sure. Yeah. Once we have these, so you mean to come to a commission meeting?
Definitely, yes.
Yep. Yes. Once we have these guidance documents out, and we'd certainly be happy to do that. And I think the water, speaking with the water company representatives in these meetings, I think there's not, I think they're certainly willing to. So.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that so much of the state is outside municipal or private water suppliers. So many people have individual wells, and so much development is going to take place in those areas. Are we properly covered that way?
Yeah, it's a good question. If you just even look at, the largest water supplier in our region is the city of Waterbury. And if you look at where their water supply is coming from, it's from, 5 or 6 towns that are far removed from the benefits of that water. So, there's a lot of planning questions come up there too. So, I think that's part of what the WUCs are intended to do is really plan for that and help water suppliers plan for that and make sure that we do have a safe drinking water supply.
The issue of private wells, though, is not a topic that's well covered in Connecticut. It usually during times of drought is usually when you will see a local community that relies heavily on private wells and acts some sort of, ordinance or oftentimes a temporary provision to, ban, use of water or restrict it. I must say that Waterbury has a very small area that's falls within a watershed area, and it's I think exclusively zoned residential, so you don't really see a lot of development proposals.
Mm-hmm.
But I know in previous communities where I've worked that have had larger watershed areas, despite sending notices to the water companies, we very rarely would we ever receive feedback from them. So I think, I'd be curious to know what their reaction would be to this. And not only the water companies, but the Department of Public Health as well. Because they too are required to be notified.
Okay, Aaron, you have, anybody have any questions for Aaron on this?
Yeah, I have just one question. Is our work is our work known as the WICWOOK?
It's the,
What?
The WICWOOK, Western Connecticut. I mean, come on,
Oh,
come up with these, I don't know what they are. I mean, they're almost jokes. A WICWOOK, a WOOK.
okay.
I think for
All
us, we were always going with Wookiees.
Yeah.
well, I
the
will just say,
WICWOOkies.
I will just say that we say in the West Wook, we say West Wook is the best Wook. So
Oh, and this is going to be recorded? My God.
How much wook would a wook chuck with a wook chuck?
I think you're
Anyways.
gonna do that again, Joanne. Fast.
No,
I'm
don't do that
reaching.
again.
I'm reaching.
I'm still can't get over Swimply.
Yeah. It's from the sublime to the very ridiculous.
All right. Do we have any other business? We have any other items? Any other topics? Savannah, Nicole, what have you worked up for us? I know you've been working on this hard. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, Chairman. I really appreciate it. We do not have anything else for tonight.
I would like to say something.
All right, Dave, go ahead.
You know, we've been doing these Zoom meetings for forever. And this was the best Zoom meeting that I've ever attended. I don't know why, but it was very well done.
Maybe,
take credit for
maybe
that.
because it's the shortest.
Yeah.
That may play into it. I think Nicole did a great job. I think Christine did a great job. I just appreciate everybody. Thank you very much.
That's
Thank you,
very nice.
Chairman.
I agree. I
Good job.
agree. I agree with David. I think you guys are doing a great job. And like I said, Seymour is fully taking a great role with the COG as as far as they act as our planners. It's worked out great. And I know other municipalities have been looking to join on, which is great. Savannah, Nicole, if you could do me one thing, can you update my the membership list of all the members from all our towns that are in our COG here? I know there's been discussion, we've had it in the past of getting more members from each town. I know each member has 2, and I don't know, there's not too many towns that actually have 2 members.
Yeah.
So,
Sure, Chairman, I will definitely get you an updated membership list. And I can also say that myself, Keith, and Rick Dunn have been having conversations about getting out into communities and having conversations. And per your and my conversation, RPC will definitely be a part of what we talk about, because it's important to have representatives here. And we appreciate you all.
right, and it has to be brought up at the with the Council of Governments, with the mayors and first selectmen too. I think it's got to be added onto their agenda to make sure that they, are filling the positions.
Definitely. We'll make sure that gets before Rick.
Fantastic. All right. Does anybody have anything else before we adjourn? All right. Hearing none, could we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved by Bob, second by David. All in favor? Aye.
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 All right. All right.
Good night,
Thanks,
everybody.
Or
All
should we
right.
say we?
Thank you. Take
Good night,
care.
all.
Thank you,
Good
commissioners.
night.
Have a great night.
Hi, everyone.
Good night.
Night. Nighty night.